Hey guys, it's Megan, and today I'm finally back with another Create This Book video. I know a bunch of you guys have been asking me to bring this series back, and we have a lot to get through today, so let's just get into it. The first page that I decided to do this week says to create boredom, make this page boring. I'm pretty much always busy at this point, and honestly I wish I had time to be bored. But when I was younger, when I was bored, I would just Google things to do when you're bored. I didn't really always do the suggestions, but at least it kept me busy for a while. Which, side note, if you're ever looking for things to do when you're bored, I got you. I have a few videos about it because I feel like that's something that people just look up for some reason. Which, let me know, what's your favorite thing to do when you're bored? Personally, I kind of make YouTube videos anyways, but if I was bored, that's what I would do. Or I'd just watch TV, honestly. Which I just figured this out. I don't know why I didn't know this before, but if you have a Roku TV, they have this Roku channel where they have a bunch of different things that you can watch for free. It comes with your TV, so that's kind of cool. But anyways, the drawing that I did for this page was really simple. I just drew a laptop with Google pulled up on the screen, and I put things to do when you're bored in the search bar. I generally don't use anything too fancy to color my Create This Book pages. For this one, I used Micron pens, Crayola markers, and Crayola colored pencils. I colored the laptop gray because, for one thing, I feel like that's kind of a boring color, although it is one of my favorites, so that probably says something about me. But I'm pretty sure most laptops are silver or gray anyways. And for one final touch on the laptop, I drew the spinning ball of death, which is the ultimate symbol of boredom, or at least the ultimate symbol of frustration, because that thing is very irritating. I cut out the drawing and moved on to creating the background. I needed to cover the background with something since the previous page bled through. I used this beige scrapbook paper at the top, and this kind of reminded me of wallpaper that would be at somebody's grandma's house. I don't really know why, but I put some wood printed scrapbook paper at the bottom of the page to act like the table, and then I stuck the laptop on. I've gotten into the habit of sealing my pages with matte Mod Podge, which was a suggestion from Mariah a while back. I forgot that Crayola markers are water-based though, and they smeared a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. And before you say anything, I know I forgot to add my rule to this page, which if you're new to this series, the rule is to add the date and something purple to each page, which I guess there is a little bit of purple, but I didn't put the date. I'm sorry, I'm a little rusty. I remembered the rest of the time though. The second page I filled out says create a colorless page. Decorate this page without using color. I don't really know what made me think of this, but I decided to draw a black and white TV for this page. I remember my grandma having one of these when I was younger, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Definitely showing my age, but this was back when you could still get TV through an antenna. And I remember that I used to have this little radio, and it had a tiny black and white screen on the front. It kind of looked like this, but the screen was black and white. I'm pretty sure that you could put DVDs in it, and I think that you could get TV stations too. Definitely more impressive in 2005 than it would be now, but I loved that thing. The coloring on most of this was pretty standard. I just outlined it, colored the back part with a Crayola marker, and filled in the details with a Micron pen and a gray colored pencil. But now comes the fun part, which is drawing the static on the TV. Here's the reference photo I used. Since there's a gray line about 2/3 of the way down, I shaded in that part with a gray colored pencil. I also added a bit of gray around the edges. For the rest of the static, I outlined the screen with a black marker and made dots all over it. The dots should be more concentrated at the top and bottom, and a little bit more spread out in the middle. I also added a few thin lines to fill it out a bit more. My camera cut off after that, but I also added a few lines shaped like this. For the background, I used this gray scrapbook paper. I always try to keep the directions showing so that I know what the prompt was when I flip through the book. I put the gray paper at the top and some white brick scrapbook paper at the bottom. Then I glued the TV drawing in the center of the page and drew antennas on top. I thought that this page needed a little something extra since it was looking a bit too similar to the Boredom page. I decided to make art to put on the walls. For this piece, I drew a family of cats, mostly because it's way easier to draw cats than it is to draw people. I feel like whenever I don't know what to draw, I just draw really simple cats. I watched a video a few weeks ago, and I forget who it was from, but I'll see if I can find it. But anyways, in the video, this guy said that if you want to improve your art, you should draw the same thing every single day. I think that he drew some kind of bird, and he would put them in different situations so that it wouldn't be exactly the same, but every day he knew that he was going to draw a bird. And the reasoning behind this is that a lot of times the hardest part of drawing, or really like anything, is finding an idea, like figuring out what to draw. So if you draw the same subject every day, you're kind of already halfway there. And this honestly makes a lot of sense. This is why I have different series on my channel, like the Create This Book or sketchbook ideas or bullet journaling or whatever. So if I don't know what to make a video about, I can just go back to that series. Let me know if you guys have something that you always go back to if you don't know what to draw. I also tend to find myself just doodling flowers a lot. If I was in class or something, I would just doodle flowers in the margins of my notes. So that's what I did for the second picture. Flowers don't really translate as well into black and white, but I tried my best and glued both of the pictures to the wall. Then I used some thin strips of black paper to make frames. And I actually remembered to put the date this time. I didn't put anything purple though, since that would be kind of a conflict with the directions. So here's how the finished page turned out. This one is at the back of the book, so it's kind of hard to open it the whole way, but otherwise it's alright. Another page I did this week says create an empty setting. Draw some sort of setting. City, beach, mountains. Leave it empty. No people or animals. On this page, I tested out this birch tree painting technique that I've always wanted to try, but I never really had a reason to. For this project, all you have to do is take strips of masking tape and put them all over the page. These will eventually be the trees. I also taped off the instructions so that they'd show when I was done. I kept a few of the strips of tape as is, but I ripped some of them in half to make it more interesting. Once my tape was ready, I covered the whole page with a coat of light blue acrylic paint. I've found that the cheaper matte craft paint works a lot better than something like Liquitex or Arteza, because anything with a gloss finish will make the pages stick together. I don't really know what I was doing in the middle here. I kind of wanted it to look like the sun rising and shining through the trees, so I blended in a little circle of white and yellow paint. I put some brown paint on the bottom to be like the ground, and added small strokes of red, orange, and yellow paint to be the leaves. I started out trying to do this with a Q-tip, but using a small paintbrush worked a lot better. After all of that dried, the best part is getting to peel off the tape. The paper in the Create This book is really thin, so the paper did kind of rip in a few spots. It didn't rip all the way through, and the worst part was that it ripped off some of the text, but I was able to sort of fix it by filling it in with a micron pen. This is why I usually do things like this on separate pieces of paper, but I figured since it was just paint, it wasn't going to bleed through, but then it ripped the paper, so that's unfortunate. But anyways, to bring everything together, I used a black Posca pen to add details to the trees. Basically, all you have to do is outline each tree with black, and draw a few horizontal lines pointing inward on the tree. You can make some lines thinner and some thicker, and add Y shapes at the top to make branches. It's definitely helpful to look at photos of real birch trees while you're doing this. This is something that would look really nice on a canvas, and you don't have to do a fall scene if you don't want to. You can make the leaves green for a spring scene, or just leave the background blue with no leaves at all for a winter scene. To finish off the page, I filled in the instructions with a red marker, added the date at the bottom, and drew a purple heart on top of one of the trees, kind of like how people carve their names in a tree or something. So here's how the finished page turned out. It actually looks a lot better than I expected. This last page was actually one that I finished quite a while ago. I just never ended up including it in a video. The prompt says, create a page of polka dots. Put polka dots on this page. I'm pretty sure that this page was inspired by something that I saw on TikTok, and I think that the person did a similar design to this, but they only did one of the circles and it was on a rock. So it was a little different, but TikTok is actually a pretty good place to get art ideas. They definitely spy on you a lot though. I feel like I should make a video of all the times that TikTok has spied on me, because sometimes I'll look at the For You page and I'll be like, I never looked that up. Why do you know this about me? I went on TikTok the other day and this girl was saying something about being 5'7", and I had just been at a doctor's appointment where they took my height, said I was 5'7", which, yes, I know, haven't grown in at least 6-7 years. I have a ton of other examples, but basically, the Chinese government's spying on me, and I'm apparently okay with it because I still have the app on my phone. I wanted to use my Posca pens for this, so I painted the page with a coat of black first. I found that Posca pens work a lot better if you paint your surface first, rather than putting them straight on the paper. And if you're doing a more complicated design that you need to sketch out, you can just paint over the pencil sketch with a thin layer of cheap acrylic paint, and it will be a lot easier to fill in the drawing with the Posca pens. This took about an hour and a half to do, which was definitely a lot, but it was worth it. Once I filled in the black part, I colored in the bubble letters in the instructions as well. And here's how the finished page turned out. This was one of those things that was easy to do, it was just a little time consuming. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave me a comment letting me know which page was your favorite for a shout out in my next video. I know I've been kind of slacking on shout outs, but I really want to get back into doing that. And if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like this one. My merch, my website, and all of my other social media will be linked down below. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!